Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Let's not go with historical examples then. Let's go with China, for example. Your big stands of China.
Hmm.
What are the laws on LGBT people in China? Is there a lot of
I don't
repression
think
and
there's
reactionism?
I don't think there's anti-LGBT sentiment or laws in China
I've
that
heard
are
they
racist.
can't adopt children, they cannot marry. Which
Yeah, but
it isn't the end of the
yeah,
world, but like it's not really
yeah.
like they're not really leading by example. You know.
When Taiwan adopted same-sex marriage in China, they were congratulated. So there might it's just a different situation with the people. Every situation, every country is different. You know.
Well, they're a government of action. They should
Yeah,
just be able
yeah,
to push that through.
but each country and each people's sentiments and attitudes and conditions are different. So China, to my knowledge, doesn't have a big LGBT movement, a really big one,
Well,
like comparable
because
to Russia.
it might not be culturally it might be culturally repressed.
Ezra,
Things
are you
like
watching this? Can you come and help me out here? Ezra's Chinese, so he'll be able to say more.
oh sure, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean like
Ezra,
I'm
if you're
just like
watching this, just come in the show if you're watching.
you know how like we used to think there were a lot fewer
No,
LGBT
no,
people
I
than there
know,
are now.
but in China, there is no big indication of repression against LGBT.
It, okay, I mean, what are the laws on the books? Like
That's not enough to listen. You can't just say, "Look at law." Oh, maybe Bolshevik Blade will be able to help out. You can't just say laws on the books. What is he saying? I can talk. Yeah, come, Bolshevik Blade. Come in the queue. Come in the queue. I'm gonna bring you in. This is a Chinese guy. He'll be able to talk to you about it.
okay.
Bolshevik Blade, come in the show queue. Is he watching? Come in show queue. Come in show queue. You know more about it. He knows more about it. Okay, he's here. Okay, I'm dragging him up. Okay, this guy is from China. What's up, Bolshevik Blade?
Hi,
Yeah.
so since I actually know a LGBTQ Chinese comrade, I might as well contact him for you right now. How about that? We can hear from his opinion.
Sure. And I'm not. I'm open to learning about it. Like
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
saying
we
like
know.
it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need some time to type to him.
Okay. I guess while you're here, Bolshevik Blade, and you can perhaps enlighten me a little bit about like how like stuff in China actually is, because I have a
Oh yeah,
negative
by
view
all
of
means.
China.
I'd love to. Yeah. So what are your questions?
So my questions is, do you think so? The big one is the social credit system mostly. Please enlighten me on the social credit system and how that's a good thing that China is
Non-existent.
imparted.
It's fake. It's just propaganda. I have relatives that live in China. I
It
have
doesn't
asked
exist.
many Chinese people. I know many Chinese people. I talked to them personally. None of them have told me about the social credit system. I asked about them about this quote unquote like uh, Orwellian evil totalitarian system. They laugh it off, saying it's a joke. So
Really?
yeah, no
It doesn't
kidding.
exist.
It doesn't exist. And okay, the only thing that I can think of is somewhat similar, adopted during the time when everyone was yelling about social credit system, was a system that was around banking and criminal record, where if you have a certain very terrible criminal record, let's say terrorism or something, you're banned from taking travel on SkyTrains. Because I mean,
Okay.
come on, you won't want terrorists on public transport, right? I mean,
Like I've seen
like no
stuff like
shit.
if you play too many video games, minus 10 credit points or something.
That's
It's like
good,
That's
right?
pure
For
bullshit.
sure.
That is pure bullshit. That's
it's
pure
pure
bullshit.
okay.
It's pure
Now
bullshit. Yeah.
I'll
And
probably so I don't have any information offhand to disprove that, so I will take your word for it right now, but I'm gonna look into it later. But like
I mean,
yeah,
if you really want to look into it, I don't think you should take any Western narratives. You should just go to China for yourself.
well,
That would work so much better.
do I have to do that
That would work much
truly-
better than taking Western narratives, because after I immigrated here to Canada, I realized everything they say about China is pure bullshit. This is a very large reason why I converted to socialism, because I realized there's just so much fucking fake news in the liberal media. I'm not kidding.
I mean, I
I'm legit
agree
not
that
kidding.
like the CIA and the liberal media I'm sure they over exaggerate China, but that doesn't necessarily mean there aren't kernels of truth in there. And I'm
There
trying
is
to determine.
absolutely no truth. I've read so much like shit from the CIA or the Western side, and I found absolutely no truth in whatever the fuck they say. Like with Wuhan and all that stuff. I mean, fuck. I know people from Wuhan. It's just completely the opposite. Like, and similar with what's going on in Xinjiang and all that stuff. I have literally asked Uyghurs myself, and they laughed it off when I asked them about this whole quote-unquote supposedly genocide. It's hilarious how like you talk to actual Chinese people and it's laugh it off against these Western propaganda.
Yeah, I specifically did not bring up the Uyghurs because like I don't have anything I don't have anything to actually go and say, because you're going to because if I were to bring up something, if I were to bring you a source, you're going to say it's CIA propaganda. I don't like that. Like I don't know how.
Okay.
How
you think Western media is biased?
What would I need to show?
I have 2 suggestions for you. Okay, 1, go to China for yourself, or 2, you can watch this guy on YouTube. His name is okay. How do I spell the guy's name? Give me a moment here. N-U-M-U-V-E-S.
Hang on 1 second. Let me write this down.
N-U-M-U-V-E-S.
O-U-M.
N-U-M-N.
N-U-M.
Yeah. N-U-M-U-V-E-S. By the way, I'm kind of relaxed today, so my accents will be heavier and I'll talk pretty fast.
It's totally fine. You're doing perfectly fine. I can understand.
Thank you. Usually I try to control my accent, but I'm very tired, so sorry.
No, it's my fault. I can't. It's fine. But whatever. So
you can check this guy. This guy out. He traveled to China and report pretty unbiasedly about what he sees there. And if you don't trust this guy, please just take a trip for yourself. There is nothing better than checking it out for yourself.
Yeah.
I promise.
Okay. I might actually go to China someday. My family wants to go at some point. So.
I mean, yeah, if you really want to, if I have the time, maybe I can take you on a guide or take you on a guide or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Guide,
Okay. What's the status of Chinese democracy?
The Chinese democracy is very similar to the Soviet Council democracy. You elect for regional representatives, which vote for the representative above, and the layer by layer.
Isn't that too many layers? Like, why not just have it like one layer?
One layer.
Elect Xi Jinping. Have those people of China elect Xi Jinping.
Even in America, it's not one layer, though, or in any nation.
Well, it has a president. Well, yeah, but it's essentially one layer. The people elect the president, like directly.
And Xi Jinping does not make all the decision. It's the Changwei and the Congress itself that make all the decision from the legislative branch.
Yeah, I'm saying that's bad. I'm saying the people of China should elect the president of China. It shouldn't be the executives appointing them or voting for them, I guess.
Wait, hold on. They vote for the legislative, which then vote for the general secretary, which is Xi Jinping.
Yeah, why do there need to be those layers? Why can't the people of China?
The people of China control. Okay, you realize how democracy works in general, right? This is the people control the legislative branch, not the executive branch, and the legislative then controls the executive.
Okay.
You get that, right?
Yeah, so...
And Xi Jinping is the executive figure. He does not have any legislative power. Okay, fine. He has one single vote. On any issue, he has one vote. But, come on.
Isn't he president for life?
No. They just removed the term limit. That doesn't mean he's president for life.
Okay, but
Oh, by the way, if you're really interested, Congress is coming up in 10 days, I believe. You can check it out for yourself.
And so, and the people who are running, they're not appointed or endorsed. Is there not like the party does not self-endorse themselves?
Wait. In America, they're endorsed. That's every country.
Well, it's a soft endorsement. Like at least third parties are allowed to run in America. Are third parties allowed to run? Or second parties?
Listen, China is a one-party state.
Yeah, that's why.
It's a one-party state. And it changes more its policies. America's a two-party state, and its policies never change. That's the difference.
By the way, if you really want to, you can vote for independents that are not related to any party at all. You can vote for. There are a lot of independents right now in the Congress.
Yeah, but do they have any actual power? And is it essentially just a protest vote?
Wait. Hold on. There are more independents in the Chinese Congress than there are more percentage-wise and number-wise than the American Congress, if you're
I agree. So, that's probably right.
And not to mention that if you're looking at the representative to voter rate, the sheer size of the Chinese Congress makes it technically the most democratic Congress in the world. Looking at the Congress number to voter rate, that is.
Okay. Why is there then not just like a lot of variety then? Why should there only be one approved party? Why can't
And talking about that, give me a moment here.
I notice you have a Juche flag as your.
It's not a Juche. It's a little sort of in the middle. It goes way back.
Okay, guys, we gotta wrap it up soon.
All right.
I won't take up too much of your time.
So currently, there's the Communist Party of China, and there are there's a United Front and Independence, which is the Jiusan Society, China Association for Promoting Democracy, China Democratic League, China National Democratic Constitution Association, Chinese Peasant and Workers' Democratic Party, Revolution Committee of the Chinese Kuomintang, China Zhigong Party, Taiwanese Democratic Self-Governance League, and the Independent, which currently make up for a very large portion of the Congress. So in reality, there's a lot of diversity in the Chinese Congress, and they got a lot. And as Hans have said, they're a lot more efficient at making good policy towards the people, and there's a very large satisfaction of the people and the government. According to Harvard University, that is
wait. How do they know that there is satisfaction?
According to Harvard University, study, the current Chinese citizen satisfaction rate with the Chinese government is over 95%.
That's
according to a Harvard
unusually
University
high.
study.
I don't know if I'll trust those numbers because, like,
But, again,
surely, like,
Listen. Where's Blair? Bolshevik Blade
Yes.
is from China.
yeah.
He knows people in China. Ezra tells us the same thing.
Well, yeah.
Every person who's not partisan, who I've ever spoken to from China, talk to Chinese people themselves. The people don't have an issue with the government. They don't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are you placing words
Like,
in their
everyone
mouth?
knows
Why
that.
do you represent them?
Well, I'm saying that if they were to like mouth like dissent against the government, with punished for that is then like
Remember, Mike
you
is
write
right.
a policy you want to see in you write a policy that you think is needed, and you give in that policy, they're gonna have a discussion and a vote.
Hey, listen. The issue is this issue of responsibility. If you're gonna come out and say, "I want to overthrow the CPC," that's fighting words, my friend. Then it becomes Carl Schmitt Hobbesian war for sovereignty, and it's based on violence. Then you can't complain what happens. You know what I'm saying? It's
exactly.
It's like good luck trying to overthrow the CPC. It has the support of the Chinese people. But when you say you are against the CCP, you have to take responsibility for an alternative. And that alternative has to compete in the violence. And every alternative fails in China. There's no force stronger than the Chinese Communist Party.
And currently there are a lot of alternatives that has happened on this land over the past years, and now it's as successful as the current state of China. None of them.
Yeah, the issue of liberalism, like I said, is the issue of the blank check rights. You cannot simply say, "I want a blank check of voting for any party." You must assume responsibility for a determinate alternative. You cannot simply say, "I want the right." You have to say, "What do you want? What is it you want?" You can't simply just say, "I want a blank check."
Like, this is how politics actually works in China. Okay, we don't have this celebrity show bullshit. If you want something, write a fucking policy and make a complaint. Really, this is how it should be. This is how politics should be for every single other nation. Argue about policy, not which fucking celebrity you want to see as a president. That is so dumb, and it never works.
And the reason they can focus on policy is because China is already a people's republic. It is axiomatic, if you want to use that word in China, that the state must serve the well-being of the Chinese people.
All right, I want to bring up one more point before we end. It's the whole idea of how billionaires are allowed to hoard their wealth in China, and how there's essentially a market in China where there are actual what makes it socialist at that point. I'm sorry, I'm not being very concrete here, but
can you just address only the billionaires thing?
There are billionaires in China, and there are essentially elites in China that have that are able to lobby the government.
They do not have any political power at all.
It's super misleading.
That is very misleading.
There
is not a.
Why are they allowed to hoard their wealth away from the people?
No, they're not hoarding their wealth. Billionaires own state. They're billionaires because they own the shares in their companies. They're not allowed to just sell their shares and take that money in some island and do whatever they want with it.
Yeah,
do we
exactly.
not as do we not as socialists want to abolish private property?
Listen. No. This is a more complicated conceptual.
This is the philosophical
issue.
question.
Yeah. But regarding the issue of billionaires in China, from what I hear, they are debating about the thing about billionaires. But you can't fault the Chinese government for not imposing limitations on how much shares can people have in companies, because it's unprecedented even for America and everyone else. So China's having that debate internally, just like America and the West is having that debate. There's nothing, you can't fault China for not limiting, for not limiting that.
Not to mention
There are even talks in the
control.
West. There are even talks in the West about like giving equity to like workers. Like I think Corbyn talked about it. I think even AOC and Sanders have touched on it a little bit.
If those ideas work, then they can gain traction in China, and it can happen.
Why don't they do them now? It doesn't necessarily like stunt the growth of China, does it?
Well, they know better. The Chinese people know better.
Okay, let me say something. If you really care about this topic, you should look into a recent policy imposed, where they plan to. It's a very complex plan to take over more control on the private industry, and the details of the policy is obviously not revealed for national security reasons, because you look at the outline and it's very promising. If you really want to go deeper into China, you want to look into policies from their official website that are released to have a better picture, instead of just saying, well, there's billionaires, therefore bad and not socialist. It's a step at a time, the negation of a negation, not just that we're trying to impose some kind of ideal onto the material reality just because we believe it should be this way.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that like China is gonna always be like striving towards this perceived ideal like socialist state that it'll never reach.
I will say Chinese view. I will try to. Both of you can correct me if I'm wrong. China has a different view than Western eschatological Christianity. In the Chinese view, it is always a development, and it's never going to fully realize the ideal. But what this will look like in 100 years is obviously won't be the same as today. But yes, it will always be developing. It will never reach a final stage of society which isn't developing. Would you agree with that, Bolshevik Blade?
Yes. Development is always the top priority.
And so do you hope that China might become less authoritarian and more open over time, maybe?
What do you mean by authoritarian?
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean by authoritarian?
Like it would give authoritarian in the sense that it will give more power to the actual like people of China.
What does that power mean?
What is that power?
Equity in businesses and a reduction in the amount of income inequality in China.
Well, you can look into the current farming industry, where they're starting more communal farms.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a new and improved version of the People's Commune, it's more molded, but it's more, let's say, fitting towards the current status quo. There are a lot of things being done right now, but you're just not looking into them.
Xi Jinping knows about the wealth inequality. They're talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. They're talking about it.
Yeah.
Like they just talk about it, and they're also talking with entrepreneurs and all that stuff. It's a very massive project, and you have to go a step at a time. Instead of just saying, well, change this and change that. That never works. You have to be practical in policy making at every single corner. It isn't just some child's play where we can enforce anything we want into the material reality, as I said before.